All right, so what I'm doing right here is I'm going to show the showcase of the Christian who thinks he's going to go and convert the Jew and show him that Jesus is prophesied in the Bible. Just spoiler alert. You can tell I watch too many fucking YouTube videos. Disclaimer, I cuss a lot, and I am not in the mood to cure myself right now, and I don't care. And I also, just another disclaimer, I don't care what anybody who might actually sit through this and listen to this thinks of that, and whether that's consistent with my, unless you're Jewish, then maybe I'll care what you think about that. But you better actually have something to go by. Okay, now that I said that, there's going to be a lot of fucks. There's going to be a lot of shits. Not that I have a lot of fucks to give beyond the effort to do this video. So, I am arguing with a man, goes by the name, I'm pretty sure this guy's not a bot, even though it's hard to tell nowadays, it really is. Now, to be sure, he's the salt of the earth, and I'm not being facetious. I like country boys, I actually do, all right. Until they get so religious that they want to convert Jews, then they get extra annoying, more than usual. So, I'm not going to pick on him for any of the things that we see here, because I got nothing against any of that. They do have a reputation, though, when they get religious, for country boys, extra religious, especially that Appalachian kind of look that we got going on here, especially with that haircut. Okay, I'm going to pick on the haircut. Other than that, I'm good with the culture, okay? Seriously. I know I'm a little biased because we're actually forbidden to have mushroom cuts, but who cares? It's my opinion. Now, okay, I just noticed this, and this is a little bit of foreshadowing. Now, I'm actually with them on the first thing. Where are the admins in this group? Yeah, they obviously left the shop a while. They left the building. There's no question. These supposed to become crass and I think he means vulgar. Gregory. Maybe you decided since you posted this on the 4th, which wasn't that long ago, if you can't beat them, join them. The Muslims are completely out of control. They tend to be, but for fuck's sake, Gregory, look at your own and then you. I don't think that the Muslims corner the market. Some people might say that about me. Hey, I didn't start. I came in when everybody else was already at chow time, and I'm just walking in the cafeteria and I'm following everybody else's table manners. It's just how it is. But I don't see what you're complaining about. I've looked enough from you, I don't know. But we're not going to talk about everybody else. So I said to Gregory towards the end, when a Jew argues scripture with a Christian online, if we've argued with one of you, we've pretty much argued with all of you. You go in, all chest puffed out. I'm going to show these Jews that they don't know their own scriptures. Who cares if I don't know any more Hebrew than the word Yeshua and Shekinah, and that's it. And that's all I know. And but I don't care. I know more than them, and I'm going to show them that they've been wrong about Jesus, and there's scales on their eyes, and I'm going to make them see. I love this shit. Somebody's going to be like, what the fuck are you doing in the next room? Because I actually haven't done this in a while. All right. But no, Gary, no. And the thing about it is, there's something that will always happen. This is the whole process of every argument you will ever have with a Christian. They will start quoting straight from Josh McDowell's book. And yes, I know nobody reads Josh McDowell anymore, but Josh McDowell had other people who wrote exactly what he did later on and then published it as their own. Not that Josh McDowell was particularly original either. And these are the prophecies that predict Jesus. And they think we're hearing this for the first fucking time. See, I cussed. That's that thing I warned you about. Okay. And I think that this is the first time we ever heard this. I think Gregory might have even been the one that asked if I'd ever heard about Jesus. We're going to go through this in a minute. And of course, I couldn't help but put something in, a little video in here. I'm pretty sure it was Gregory.
To talk about Jesus, and that's one of those things that, I wish they would understand that people basically, I think, know who Jesus is. Maybe I'm guessing, maybe I'm way out of line here, but I have a good feeling that generally Americans and the people throughout the world know who Jesus is. We need your help because we want people to know who Jesus is. Hey, we know who Jesus is. Get a fucking job.
All right, so yeah, this is after the long. Okay, so he kept. Okay, this is something, and I'm kind of making this for you Christians out there too. And don't worry, I'm not setting you up for failure. You're doing a good job with that yourselves. I'm actually telling you a better way to communicate with Jews. If you're going to go in talking to a Jew, especially a religious Jew, acting like you know our scriptures better than we do before you have anything to base that on. Now, see, the problem is you look at all Jews like we're the same. The problem is you talk to some secular Jew that probably hardly ever set foot in a synagogue, but a couple of times in their lives, doesn't know any more Hebrew than they didn't pick up in some fucking Seth Rogen movie or something like that. And probably confuses Yiddish for Hebrew if they recognize either one of them at all. You'll meet one of those, or you'll meet a Jew for Jesus who that's the same background they have every time, if they're even Jewish. Most of them are not Jewish. Halakhically. I'm not saying, and just for you folks at home that don't know this, being a heretic and being Christian or any other religion doesn't make them cease to be Jewish. I'm sorry, different topic. If that's too much to absorb, whatever. That's not where I'm going with this video. The problem is you'll meet that person. You'll talk to that person. You might even convert that person. But then you think all Jews are like that person. No. If the person's even moderately religious, I don't even care if he's a reform, okay? You're going to end up realizing you do not know what the fuck you're talking about. You read a book in something. I'm behind the times on Christian propaganda, so when I say things like Josh McDowell or Jack T. Chick or Michael Brown, he's still out and about. I know someone quoted him today too. Might have even been Gregory. It wasn't, because it was a girl. I remember that. You're going to be quoting these people, and you're going to think that we've never. And by the way, if you read one Christian pamphlet, book, YouTube video, watch, whatever, sermon, I don't care, and they talk about the things to say to Jews, they're all the same. That's why I knew what to say and respond. And in Gregory's imaginary world, I didn't respond. When in fact I actually did. I just wouldn't let him move to something else. So we started with Isaiah 7. Well, I'm sorry, we started with the Psalms. And I had to keep explaining to him the Psalms are not prophecies. Well, yeah, they are. They can be. No, they're not. And then I said, this is he says, do you know the difference between the word prophecy as a verb? I'm like, and he says, in prophecy as a noun? I'm like, yeah. Let's start with the word prophecy. It's not in our Bible. It's in our translations, sure. But no, we actually read it in the original language. Imagine that. Now, I don't pretend to be fluent in Hebrew, ancient or modern. I have a wife for that. She does. But as it happens, I know enough. Let me rephrase that. I know more than you. How do I know that? Because I knew that within about 2 exchanges. I don't assume that every time I talk to a Christian, even though that always turns out to be the case, by the way. Okay, now enough about my setup. Now this is this last one. We'll read this one later. The difficult thing is now I have to go back. Whoopsie daisy. I'm sorry. You think me in the 21st century, I'd see too many things that distract me that it wouldn't distract me, but come on, look at that. All right. That was an accident. That was a pop-up. Okay. Damn. Okay. All right, so we'll pick up here. All right, so we're arguing here about the Tehillim, or as he keeps calling them, the Psalms. I'm not going to pick on him for calling them Psalms. Most people do. It's Tehillim. And he made, this is somebody else. This is Bill Grayer. He kind of backed out at one point. But Bill Greer didn't become a dick when he started to lose. He just kind of ducked out. So, again, they always, Isaiah 7:14. Here's the thing. They mention Isaiah 7:14 pretty early on every time. And there's one thing I'm committed to doing in this conversation, or really with anything else, especially when you're dealing with Scripture. We'll never come to consensus because the likes of you people who evangelize who evangelize Jews will never admit, because it's heresy. You're not allowed to admit it. You're not allowed. You could go to hell for this. 7:14. Okay, you know what? I'll start with this. I'll start with Bill. Isaiah 7:14. Behold, a virgin shall conceive. Dude, you better know I'm going to stop you right there. No, it does not say, behold, a virgin. Matthew lied. The guy who wrote the Gospel of Matthew lied. It doesn't say virgin. Alma is not. You can have a hooker who has had more sailors going in and out of her than a fucking submarine. Okay? I'm going to be more descriptive than maybe you might want to go and listen to Rabbi Tovia Singer instead of me, because if you're easily offended, because I'm sorry, I use cuss words as punctuation. I may clean that up someday in my life. It ain't today, okay? I don't know. We'll decide that later. If you say, behold, a virgin shall conceive, and you know we're not going to call you out on that alone, close up your suitcase full of pamphlets and tracts, put away, and learn more. Any Jew that doesn't call you out on this, or even just not a Jew that knows that the book of Matthew is full of shit, alone. Now, because I tend to start with that one, I started with the Psalms. Gregory did. That sounded me chewing. That's how much I don't give a fuck right now. I'm probably going to edit that out. That was actually pretty crude. It is not a virgin shall conceive and bear a son. No. This whole sentence is a lie. It's not what it says. It will be in my description later. It is, behold, he's talking to King Ahaz roughly about 850 years before the first century rolled around. Jesus, will not be born for over 8 fucking centuries. Now, what it says in Hebrew, and this is how I know that the author of the book of Matthew was a liar. His name was, we don't know who wrote it. It's tradition. They titled it Matthew long after it was written. It is, behold, not the young woman. The Alma, the young woman, is pregnant, or has conceived. You can say that too. Shall is future tense. Doesn't say that. He's speaking to a man face to face, man to man. He's telling, and by the way, why was he talking to the king in the first place? Because the king is worried that he's going to get completely trampled by the Assyrians. He's the king of Judah. And he's explaining, how do I know when this war is going to come? And will I survive? And basically, Isaiah is saying to him, you're an asshole, but you're going to be fine. Ahaz was a bad guy, but he's still the king. And Isaiah is, Yeshayahu is the Nevi. And a Nevi, a prophet, is not just some guy that God talks to. It does, but there's some criteria for proof. But it's more than that. A Nevi is also a branch of government held by one man. He's sort of a check and a balance for the king. He's the only guy who gets to walk into the throne room and tell the king exactly what's on his mind whenever he wants to, and the king's not allowed to do shit to him. It was very bad if the king got pissed off at the Nevi and killed him. But there was a certain time that he could be killed by the Sanhedrin. I'm getting off topic. The reason that I'm saying this is this was an official title you held, Nevi. And you could theoretically be a charlatan and be a Nevi too. You remained a Nevi until you predicted something that didn't happen, or and this is why in the Bible only certain books have the name of the author in it. Because what do people do? What do frauds do? Whenever they make a prophecy, it doesn't happen. We've all seen it, and especially in the age of YouTube, if you've been paying attention. I didn't say that. Sometimes you'll get some guy say, well, I miscalculated. Nevim don't calculate. They're given a message from the divine. And it's only a matter of time before a fake becomes a Nevi. But what they say has to happen. Okay? It's got to be falsifiable. Now I'm digressing. None of this. And will bear a son. That's in there. Shall name him Emmanuel. Now, not a virgin, not will conceive, has conceived. You got it. Okay? I didn't move over to 9:6. I didn't move over to Daniel. I did not move to Isaiah 53, and that's tempting because that's a stupid Christian butchery of what Isaiah 53 says. Don't believe me? Read 50, 51, and 52, and then 53, and then 54. Psalms, again, not a problem. Okay, now you're like, why am I reading Bill's shit? Because Gregory says the same thing. They all say the same thing. Now, so we'll go to Gregory. Enough of me picking on Bill. Bill was a gentleman as far as I can remember. Gregory lost his shit, as they do. Now, anyone can say that. He accused me of losing mine. No, I'll just be my normal self. Sorry. But enough of that. Let's look. Okay, so we're moving on from Bill. And let's see. Bill. Yeah, Bill was having, Gregory was having the same problem here because they were disappearing. I know this happens with the PC a lot, where it kind of like, because I don't see Gregory's other shit. And I don't tend to have this missing stuff, because here I'm responding to Gregory, but I don't see Gregory's response to me. His shit was disappearing too. A lot of times it's my shit that disappears. There's something about whenever you use it on the PC. I hope it doesn't fuck up the whole video. So I'm just gonna have to read my responses. This sucks though, because I'd like to see how would he. Okay. Now, jeez, the hell. I say what the hell like I'm surprised. This has happened so many damn times. It's one of the reasons why I kind of got away from doing this. All right, so he responds. I says, oh, okay. At one point we're talking. Basically, I'm laying out where I'm telling them this because Christians misquote the Psalms, the Tehillim, all the time. Look, it predicted. First of all, no, it doesn't predict Jesus. Second of all, it's not predicting anything. It's poetry. He says some of them were written by Ezekiel. I'm like, and if that's true, we don't know that. We don't know who wrote them. Tradition has it was David, but we don't know that for a fact because they're not prophecies. And because they're not prophecies, the author does not name themselves. It's like that. I don't care. And basically all Gregory does is keep asserting that some of them are. And I kept saying, no. I'm sorry that disrupts your worldview, but that's not the case. They also don't talk about the Messiah. And I don't give a damn if there's black hats out there that disagree with me on this. It does not. The Psalms, the Tehillim do not. And not even just as a point of reference. So he says to me, it's a prophecy, noun, prophecy, verb. You're talking to an Orthodox Jew, dude. Um, he's complaining about how some of his he's saying somebody has. He's saying somebody's is deleting my things. I don't think it's deleting. Someone's glitching it. He thought I was doing it. I'm like, how much power do you think I have? Come on. I know you might believe that we control the world, but no, we don't even control Facebook. Well, I guess Zuckerberg, he's a Jew. Okay, I'm not him. No, it's not a prophecy. I'm sorry. It is on you to show that it is. I'm telling him it's probably your PC problem. I explained to him both are English words. Nevi and Nevim are not. You know more than the 70 Jewish, I think there's another missing one he did. You know more than the 70 Jewish scholar translators who wrote the Septuagint. Yeah, there's a lot missing here for some reason, because, of course, I told him repeatedly, fuck your feelings, and I did demonstrate this. The only people who believe that the Septuagint, besides the first 5 books, the Pentateuch, are translated by the 70 Jewish scholars way back when, 2,000 years ago. Only people who think they were Jews, besides those 5 books, are very uneducated Christians. And there are some scholars who deliberately leave this out, or maybe they don't. Maybe they really are managed to be scholars and don't know. The Septuagint was written by the church. It was probably Origen after the year 200 CE. That did that translated everything after the book of Deuteronomy, Devarim. So there's your history lesson. He says, no, it's not true. And Gregory does what they all do. He thinks asserting that it's not true. So, of course, no. The Septuagint doesn't prove shit. It wouldn't prove shit even if it were true. Now, those of you, if anybody is getting this far into the video, I'm definitely losing people now, because I'm like, what the fuck is the Septuagint? You don't need to know. It's, even if we were in court and we were trying to, like the church used to make Jews participate in rigged debates all the time. Even if we're back in those days, any honest court would have to throw the Septuagint right into the garbage can where it belongs. Because, as it is, it's called law of best evidence. When you have the original document, which is the Masoretic text, Hebrew, you don't go to a translation of it. That's called law of best evidence. The Septuagint is as useful as the Pope's balls, even if the book of Isaiah was part of it, which it's not. There is a later Christian invention that translated it into Greek, by a guy that you yourself would call a heretic, actually, because he was Origen. He believed Jesus was a lesser god, but that's another story. So I explained this to him. Law of best evidence. Fuck, you know. But let's get to the meat of it. I don't want to make this too long. But since you brought it up, how much of the Bible actually is the Septuagint? Do you know? I knew he didn't know. I'm the first person to ever tell him this, and that's why he threw basically a cyber temper tantrum. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Kicking feet. Okay. I says, I'd like you to take your best guess. I'm not being sarcastic. Okay. I accidentally clicked my microphone so that, hold on. I accidentally clicked my microphone off. I don't know how, but maybe it's better. That was going on too long. I'm going to zip through this a bit faster because, okay, so Gregory kept on, again, I am not addressing shit until, we're going to go over it again. Hebrew word for Isaiah 14 is Alma, and its inherent meaning, young woman. It can mean virgin. No, it's not. And Gregory, you fail, or he fails, depending on whether he's watching this, anyone else watching this. Who the fuck cares? I don't care. Simply asserting that it can mean something other than what it means requires you to show an example of that, but it doesn't exist in the entire Hebrew Bible. In fact, the opposite is shown, where a promiscuous woman is called Alma, because she's a young woman and she's promiscuous. We have another word for virgin. It's Betula, or Basula, depending on whether you're hardline Ashkenazic, clinging on to the idea that a tau can make an S sound. Does Gregory know what I meant when I said tau make an S sound? Fuck no! Fuck no. And that's your problem, Gregory. You're too busy trying to convert Jews and not busy enough trying to learn the fucking. See, I cuss. I warned you. Learn. I don't care if you think that's not very becoming of a man talking about Scripture either, or a Jew talking about Scripture, or whether or not. I don't care. Because why do I say that? Because Gregory shifts as Christians always do when they start to lose the conversation, shifts the conversation to being about me and anything he has to say about my temperament, behavior, mood. I don't care, Gregory. I don't give a fuck. No fucks to give. You're not tricking me into going into the defensive mode and talking about myself. I love talking about myself, don't get me wrong, but I'm not doing it. I'm not biting your hook. And I didn't bite the last dipshit's hook that tried that either. I'm not going to play ball. I'm not going to do the same thing. That's the other thing. You either want me to do that or you want me to attack you, and then so you can turn around and say, hey, you're attacking me. Christians do this all the time when they start to lose. And it's stupid because it's like, if you were honest, this would just be an exchange about the scriptures that you claim to care about. But let's be honest. You care about what the New Testament says, and everything else has to fit that. I actually had a Christian admit that to me one time. Great. Stop trying to get Jews to hold that standard. That's disgusting. It's not for you. If you want to follow the school of Marcion and throw the entire quote unquote there's no Old Testament. There's our testament. There's our, not even testament, there's our covenant, okay? There is our Tanakh. We don't have a testament. Old Testament. You guys, you want to do well talking to Jews, stop saying Old Testament. It leaves a bad taste in our mouth, and it makes you sound uneducated as fuck, but okay, whatever. The word does not necessarily imply virginity. It doesn't imply virginity, Gregory. Full stop. It doesn't. Alma curse, I know how many times it appears. I have the same list that you do. I've had this argument many, many times before. And 9 times out of 10, it goes the same direction you took it in. And we're going to show what that is, because that's really what I'm about by making this video. Yeah, Song of Solomon. That's the one that impeaches the idea if it's a virgin. Because we're going to get into it. You bring up the Septuagint. You think because they use the word Parthenos doesn't mean virgin either. That's the thing. It's interesting to note that the 3rd century BCE, you actually got the time right, a panel of Hebrew scholars, yeah, I know, translated the first 5 books and only the first 5 books of the Torah. First 5 books, which is the Torah. They did not translate the rest of the Tanakh. Fuck your feelings. That was done by Origen and maybe some of his contemporaries in the 2nd century. Sorry that hurts your feels, but that's history. Greek virgin, Parthenos. Not necessarily, but that doesn't matter, actually. The Septuagint translators, 200 plus years before the birth, yeah, I know, with no inherent belief in virgin birth, yeah, they didn't. Which is very odd, considering the fact that they're translating a word that's supposed to predict the virgin birth. They didn't have an apparent belief in a virgin birth, because it wasn't in there. Yeshayahu, but they didn't translate Isaiah. I'm sorry. I told you this like 8 times, maybe 5, I don't know. And you ignored it every time. First, you just denied it. Then when I showed you scholarly evidence for this, that's when you started to insult me. That was fun. I love that. This gives evidence that virgin is possible. No, it doesn't. Because if this happened, maybe, but still it wouldn't. But it doesn't matter because they didn't do the book of Isaiah. They didn't do the book of Joshua. They didn't do the book of Judges. They didn't do the book of 1st and 2nd Kings. They didn't do the books of Chronicles. They didn't do Micah. They didn't do Jeremiah. They didn't do Zechariah. They didn't do 1st and 2nd Maccabees. They didn't do Tobit. They didn't do what do we got? They didn't do any of them. They didn't do the book of Tetrachus. That much I know. You know why? Because there is no book of Tetrachus. They made it up. They didn't do any of those. They did Bereshit. They did Shemot. They did Ketuvim. They did Hamidbar, and they did Devarim. That's it. And yeah, I was saying that in Hebrew to be a dick. No, it's also to prove a point because you don't know if I even said those in order or not because you don't know what books I named. Do you? Do you? Gregory, don't talk about this shit until you get some basic understanding of Hebrew. You come out looking like a jackass. Forget about the fact that everything you said about the Septuagint was wrong. Because there's no mention of a virgin shall be behold or a young woman shall be behold in the books that they translated 200 plus years before Yezu was born. So no, it doesn't give evidence for shit. I just explained why. You will ignore that. You will pretend that I didn't. You will accuse me of whatever, of leading back and ignoring, but I didn't. I addressed every single point, bullet point checklist. And whether you want to pretend that I didn't or not, like you did do later on, fine. I'm used to you guys doing that. You get very dishonest when you start to lose because that's your Dunning-Kruger shit. Because otherwise you have to admit that Matthew lied. That's the next logical place, and you're not allowed to do that. You go to hell for that, right? Right. No, Alma does not mean virgin. I challenge you to show me one place where it does. There isn't. Not one. I'll show you a place where a whore, I said whore, I shouldn't have said whore. It is an adulterous woman. Song of Psalms, concubines called Alma, Proverbs. There are three things which are too wonderful to me, but they don't understand. The eagle in the sky, serpent, blah, blah, blah. And with a man, a young woman. But okay, way of a man with a young woman, but Alma. This is the way of an adulterous woman. She eats and wipes her mouth and says, I have done no wrong. The context is irrelevant. She's an adulterous woman. She's an Alma. No contradiction. If it said she's a Betula, it would not say that because that's a virgin. Betula, Betula, Betula. Betula. Virgin. Like a Betula. Touching for the very first time. Showing my age now. Okay? It could be a virgin doesn't exactly help the virgin birth case, does it? And it doesn't. Because even if it could be a virgin, and it, yes, a young woman could be a virgin. Now, but that doesn't, but if you're making a prophecy that a woman who's never had sex is going to have a baby and the laws of biology are going to be suspended, which was not the point of that prophecy, by the way, nor was it about the Messiah. Then you have the problem with the word hara. Hara is actually how you pronounce it. I still have trouble with braces, but I trust you do know this one. And I was trying to give you the benefit of the doubt, but I kind of knew you didn't. And that's why you never address hara. Once. You avoided that like Michael Jackson avoided people with pubic hair. I don't know that he did it. Jared Fogle, how's that? Okay. Seriously, that's not what it said. Your dishonesty is not helping yours. It is absolutely what it said. And I'm sorry. You're being dishonest, or you're just avoiding. You had comments removed. Wasn't me. I can't do that. It's happened to me before, though. The virgin shall become pregnant is problematic only if you don't know what espesio means in Koine Greek, and you know what that one. Why would I need to know Greek? No. We are not conforming to your pagan Greek sanctimonious cows. We have our own, and it's Hebrew. It's the language it's written in. No, Greek doesn't help at all. And then the 70 scholars 200 years ago did not translate this book. Sorry, they translated the Torah. That's it. Fuck your feelings. That's what they did. That's what I'm getting at. That's not in the Septuagint. That was added later by the church. Actually, okay, you wouldn't call it the church. Origen was considered a heretic later on. But nonetheless, he was one of the major translators, including of of what is wrongly called the Septuagint today. There's only the Septuagint was the 5 books of Moses. That's it. That was the if you want to call the other one the Septuagint, that's fine. But Jews didn't. That wasn't Jewish work. That was an anti-Semite, a guy who did not like Jews named Origen. Nope isn't a legitimate response. There's nowhere where I don't know where you're seeing me just saying nope. I never have one post where I simply say nope. I don't know where. I know that some of these have disappeared for some reason, and I'm not going to my mobile device. I know they'll show up there, but I'm not doing it. I have never in my entire life simply said nope. So you're looking at the word nope and you're ignoring whatever else in the missing one. I said that. I never just said nope. Again, you don't even know what a Nevi is. But I want to get back to Hara. Hara means has become pregnant. Already is pregnant right now. 800 years BC. I'm saying this to King Ahaz. Isaiah is. I says, asserting that the Tehillim are prophecies and demonstrating them is two different things, because you never even bothered to try. You just keep asserting that they are, but they're not. I will write what it actually says in Hebrew for context. It's 800 BC and he's speaking to Ahaz. So Hashem will give you a sign. The young woman Adonai. I actually shouldn't have said Hashem, because that's where the word is Adonai will give you a sign. The young woman is pregnant. Hara is pregnant. Is present tense Hara. And will give birth. And she will call his name Emmanuel. This woman is alive in 850 BC. Unless she's a vampire. And King Ahaz is a vampire. This would make a great Anne Rice novel. Too bad she's not around. Then there's no room for Jesus. There's no room for Mary. Even if it was about a virgin, which it's not. No room. He's talking to this is a living man almost 9 fucking centuries before your carpenter God was born. Before his so-called virgin mother, we have our own record, she was not a virgin. Okay? I don't know if she was as promiscuous as some people thought she was, but the woman was not a virgin. Not getting into that here. No room for her to be relevant in this prophecy. And by the way, the word Messiah, or even a hint at Messiah, is not mentioned either. Because it's not about the Messiah. You made a laughy face, which is it's another sign that you know you're losing the argument, is you start making laughy faces. And you're losing ground at the very least. You did. If there were a referee that doesn't taken sides in either one of us, I'm sorry, you would have been called the loser already. Do better. I could have done better arguing for your side. Big time. But I actually care what our scriptures say. You don't. You care what you want them to say. Yes. You make such assertions about me, so I feel okay doing that to you. In summation, look up the Septuagint does not contain the Nevi. The Nevi'im, the church added that later. Again, I misspoke when I said the church. It was Origen. It could have been Jerome to a certain degree, too. Even if you could twist Alma to mean virgin, you can't. And you never showed one example of Alma meaning virgin. Not one. Not one. You resorted to Greek, and it wasn't even Greek that's relevant to this, because it was written by Christians. You still have to find a way to make this about the Messiah, which I don't care what the author of Matthew said, it doesn't. I wanted to fuss on this. Another straw man. Please, Gregory, tell me, do you know what a straw man is? You don't. The argument is that 70 Jewish scholars, a straw man, Gregory, is if I make an argument that you did not make. I didn't. You made the argument that the 70 Jewish scholars translated the Greek word, used the Greek word for virgin, and I took a huge shit on that and told you what you will not come to terms with. No, that wasn't our scholars. That was pagan. I mean, you'd call Origen a pagan too, because he was a polytheist, I guess. So I'm not being contentious here. It's just Origen was that kind of guy. He believed Jesus was the lesser guy. That's the point. That was his work, not ours. You think that their sources weren't in Hebrew to Greek? No. Again, no, you're strawmanning me, Gregory, not the other way around. You're asserting that I addressed that these were 70 Jewish scholars. No. I'm telling you they weren't. And if you had read what I said, but I think you read it and you're deliberately misrepresenting me. No. All of the Nevi'im. And you probably still don't know what Nevi'im means, even though you could have figured it out on your own by now. These books that you're talking about, Yeshayahu is one of the Nevi'im. And it is not translated by Jewish scholars into Greek. Not. I said that nice and slow. You're probably not going to listen to this, but I'm making it anyway. This is for anybody that might. You consider yourself to be more authoritative than... No. No. Now who's strawmanning? That's not what I said. I mean, Gregory, are you not paying attention to what you read? I hope you're not dumb. Okay, I'm going to be honest. I do kind of think that Christians that try to evangelize Jews usually are. I'm trying to give you the benefit of the doubt here, though. No, that's not what I said. You are strawmanning me. It's funny you would start this with a straw man when you don't say how I strawmanned you at all, and then you go on to strawman me. No, I didn't say that I knew. I didn't say I knew better than those 70 Jewish scholars. I said they didn't translate the book of Isaiah, and they didn't. Fuck your feelings. Then choosing Greek word patheos, which means no, Gentiles wrote that. Unless you're dealing with the first 5 books, the Torah, it's not the Septuagint in the sense that it was not translated by Jews. Do you understand now? If you don't, there's nothing I can do for you. Okay? No. A pagan Christian named Origen, a polytheist Christian named Origen translated that. Or most generous possibility, it was Jerome. In case you don't know, they weren't Jews. No, it's not best evidence because those texts that you give right here, those were not done by Jews. Those texts picked up the older texts from 500 years before, which was the Torah, and tacked it on to this Christian invention that you wrongly call the Septuagint. Who were the original authors of the Septuagint that did only the Pentateuch were long dead. Long dead. So they couldn't stand up and say, that's not our fucking work. Put the word Septuagint on this or we're going to sue you. If this had all happened in real time in the modern world, that's what would have happened. He was absolutely right. The kingdom came... I don't know what you're responding to here. His second coming is another matter. There is no second coming in the... Jewish writings. I'm sorry, that's a figment of your imagination. The Son of Man, Bar Enosh, an heir to royalty. Daniel saw the... I'm not okay, and I absolutely refuse to address Daniel because you misrepresented. Okay, here I lay out what I already said. You strawmanned me, not the other way around. So please argue the point I fucking made. You're not going to. Puts you dangerously close to hell if you do. Here I am repeating what I already said. You gish gallop, which is, you're trying. Okay, so you are gish galloping. Google it. I'm not explaining it here, except to say that. So before we resolve anything about Isaiah, you jump to another passage. I've never had an argument with a Christian that didn't do this. You don't want to resolve anything because it's too dangerous for you. So you start throwing other ones in there. This is an ongoing problem with churches. When all else fails, put words in the mouths, preferably after we're dead. This is what happened when they tried to say that the Jews translated the Septuagint. We know who our own translators are. We own the Torah. We don't own the rest because it wasn't us. Nothing you said was without ban adequate response. What? Spell check, dude. I'm not even going to try. That's a lie. No, it's not. Okay, you're trying to say that what I said about the Septuagint is a lie. It's not. It's complete consensus, and you don't get to tell us what we wrote, not without proof. Number 8 didn't skip over to, but yes, you did. We didn't come to consensus. You guys always do this. Yes, you absolutely did skip over it. We did not come to consensus on Isaiah, and instead of dealing with what our contention is, you go zip right over the book of Daniel. You could have easily thrown in anything else. No. Hearsay argument about Jesus being wrong in his prophecy. Jesus was wrong about damn near everything. I don't give a shit. That's not the point. Involving more than just Daniel. You skipped past it. What did I skip past? No. You skipped past Isaiah, dude. That is acceptable to you? No. Is that acceptable to you? That's what you did. So go back to Isaiah. I'm not budging. I'll be glad to talk about Daniel after this. You won't. I don't expect that you will. It says, yeah, it is. You're going to quote the Septuagint. You're supposed to know that. I'm using hearsay? No, bud. That's moving to Daniel until Isaiah's settled. And since you clearly didn't bother to check yourself for yourself, looks like I'm going to have to do your homework for you. Like Jews don't have to do this too much as it is in junior high and high school. I'm sorry. Some stereotypes do exist for a reason. And yes, I had to do your own fucking. And you have. Okay, I'm going to take a break because my kind of stick in my throat here. This is where Gregory really, really goes on the rag. Big time. When I actually show my receipts. And yeah, I was expecting that because, if we argued with one Christian who's trying to prove that Jesus the Messiah to a Jew, then you've argued with all of them. Give or take a couple that I've met. Very rare.
I remember that.
That's right.
It also reminds me of the time I saw the 60-year-old man slide down one of those things and he was going so fast his bathing suit fell off and I just stood there and stared at his big, beautiful, hairy balls flopping around. Holy jeez, I wanted to lick them.